to another episode. I'm your co-host, Vanessa.
And I'm your other co-host, Catherine, and welcome back to another episode of Roommate Rewind. Yay!
Yay! Oh, I did a little
you were
clap.
Doing so
I was like,
good. You were doing so good at not clapping
I know.
at the mic.
I didn't
but
hit the
it's
actual
okay.
mic, though, so I think we're good.
It's okay. Welcome back, guys, to another episode. Your two favorite roomies are back.
Do you
once
notice something
again.
about us?
Matching pajamas.
It is the Christmas spirit. We actually, neither of us have our matching socks on.
We don't have our socks on, but you guys can't see that, so
You'll see them in our...
we're not providing for your foot fetish.
But
That's
you
not what
will,
this podcast is about.
You will see our cute socks and our pajamas in a cute holiday photo shoot that we did today.
Woo! Yeah, today we just did, before we recorded this episode, our cute holiday photo shoot. So stay tuned on our Instagram for some cute pics coming out.
That'll be so exciting.
But that was really cute. We actually did this last year, too, for Roommate Rewind. We just got matching PJs, and then I think we took, like, a cute picture. That we just posted, I think, on, like, our story.
Yeah.
Or
We didn't actually go to the studio last year, but this year we did, like, professional. So you're already going to see the progression of us.
Like, it's so crazy. Like, last year we got matching PJs, and then we literally took pictures with, like, Santa hats, I remember, in the hallway of our old dorm.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy to think about.
It was so freshman.
And also, too, like, I liked those pajamas. They were definitely cute. They were more, I feel like, I mean, these are just equally as comfy, but
these are more
I think
mature.
these were more matching. Because I think last year we picked different, like, tops.
We did. We had different tops.
It didn't look like we were wearing, like, matching pajamas because you couldn't even really see, like, our pants because we were, like, self-timering it. So, like, on the windowsill. So
it's safe to say we've improved our photo game. Already excited for the next couple of years to come with our cute
matching
photos.
PJs. So, yes, we went very, like, basic.
What do we even have on these?
We wanted to go, like, very mature.
Yeah.
There's some reindeers, some snowflakes on them.
Yeah, just a cute neutral pattern.
Little shorts and button-up type of vibe for this episode for Christmas this year. Because I feel like, you know, it really does signify, like, you know, sophomore year, like, freshman year is kind of, you know, you're still, like, that kid. You're still kind of, like, jumping into the spirit of, like, being at school and at college, whatever, and now, like, we're 1 year older, and we've matured one more year, and so I feel like our pajamas represent that.
We've matured.
Or maybe it's all BS.
Maybe it's all absolutely fake.
Maybe
and
it's just all the ones that we liked.
Regardless, we went with neutrals this year, and I love them.
I think too it matches with our pink aesthetic.
It does.
And our gray, so
does.
you get what you get. Don't get upset.
Yeah, we just made pajamas so deep for no reason.
Right? But you know what? Sometimes we gotta add value to something that doesn't need it. But anyway, we want to jump right into this episode because you know what we haven't done in a while? Some pop culture.
Yay!
I feel like everybody laughs when we do pop culture because we really aren't a pop culture podcast. It's not who we are. But I feel like we're just young people who I feel like usually know a lot about pop culture.
Totally.
So I think hearing our opinions, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but just hearing our opinions, our thoughts, or even hearing just, like, stuff we don't talk about every day but we see online to each other, it's just so interesting of, like, and I think it's fun to, like, look back as, like, a viewer, as, like, like a host, like, look back at these episodes and be like, oh, that's what kind of was going on during our college time.
Exactly.
So even though they kind of have nothing to do with, like, our personal experiences or, like, college and, like, kind of all about what this podcast is about.
It's like a keepsake diary type thing.
Exactly. It's fun to, like, look back at these episodes and be like, oh my god.
Exactly.
Like, this is what was going on during this time in our lives. So, we're doing pop culture again.
Yeah. Okay.
But do you want to jump right into it? Well, first of all, let's start off. Dancing with the Stars, the time we're recording this, the finals are tomorrow.
Yes.
So crazy. Me and Vanessa have been huge Dancing with the Stars fans. I mean, our entire lives.
Yeah.
But then I think especially at
we
college,
bonded over
I think
it,
that
for
was
sure.
definitely, especially it was first semester too. So I think it was one of our really big,
it
like,
was.
besides the podcast.
Obviously, yeah.
Which we'll jump into, like, our next pop culture thing in a second. But I think besides the podcast, like, literally Dancing with the Stars was, like, one of our big things of bonding and becoming friends.
Yeah.
It was something that we did separate but together because we actually didn't watch it together. We watched the episodes at different times during the day.
Yep.
and then
You're
we
so
talked
right.
about it.
You're so right. We never watched it live last year, because we were the only ones watching it, so we didn't have anyone like that would spoil it or anything. So we just watched it on our own time, and then the next day we were like, "Could you believe?" Yeah.
I think it also was our school schedules, like first
Oh,
semester.
it totally was.
We
Well,
were
it was on
both-
Tuesday nights when you had class till 10 p.m. You know, so
I had a really busy like long lecture at 10 p.m. last year on like the nights that the show would come out.
Yeah.
Irrelevant. But but I think that's why major thing we didn't watch it together. And also like we had another roommate at the time, so like out of respect for her and stuff. But yeah, like now this year we watch it together and it's like such a bonding thing. If, like, and it's also nice if we just know that like Tuesdays, no matter how stressed we are or whatever, it's just something that we can look forward to do together. Like, it's a moment for us to breathe and be like, okay, like, do something for yourself, you know?
So I guess as as the semester is wrapping up, so is Dancing with the Stars, so we'll get to, I know, it's our last Tuesday watching this, but maybe the Tuesday after that we'll watch reruns.
Sure.
But
or highlight clips, like, on YouTube.
Yes, I've been doing that a lot on my own time. But yeah, so there's 5 couples left, and this is actually something they've never done before, have 5 couples in the finale, so it's just going to be something very exciting.
It's going to be a long episode.
It is. There's also
5 couples is crazy, plus they have so many other things, like,
I was just going to say, this adds to the pop culture, is that Charli D'Amelio and her partner Mark Ballas are also going to, like, do a surprise. Well,
winners from last season.
Yes, they won last year, and they're going to be doing a dance. If you want to hear
all about our thoughts from last season, we actually have a whole episode on it in season 1. It's not video, sorry. It's only on Spotify, too. So, all of our OG listeners have either watched it already, or if you want to rewatch it, just a little reminder. But that's so exciting. I'm so excited for her to come back because she's like an actual professional dancer. Which I know is a lot of controversy, but like now that she's just coming back as just like a guest, I'm so excited to see what kind of like the vibe is. Like what style do you even think she's going to do? I'm going to say something exciting. You think a little bit more, like, I don't think she's doing, a waltz.
I was just going to say, she's not doing a waltz, but I don't think she's going to do something as crazy as, like, the tango either.
I hope she does, like a cha-cha, or, like, a...
Exactly. I think she's going to do something...
Or a jive. If she does a jive... I
think that's a good guess.
If she does a jive, I feel like that's so fun.
I'll be pissed
or
if
she could do a really pretty lyrical.
Yeah, but I don't want her to. It would be so pretty, but I need something exciting from her.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
so I'm excited to see what she comes up with.
Is there any, like main things you're, like, looking forward to, or just, like, something, like, who do you think's gonna win? Like, put out your predictions out there.
Honestly, I'm hoping for Xochitl and Val.
To win. Okay.
I really like Ariana, too. But I don't know. I feel like Xochitl just brings that, but, like, I don't know if it sounds like mean or crazy, but I feel like Xochitl is just not going to win because a young person won last year.
Very true.
Like, Charli was also kind of in the same age category range as, like, Xochitl. Yeah. So I feel like it's not fair for, like, OG fans. They're going to be like, oh, well, Charli won last year. It's rigged. Like, it's always the young kids that win.
And if you guys don't know Xochitl, she was in, like, a couple Marvel movies. That's what, her, like, celeb status is. And Ariana Madix, she was in Vanderpump Rules. She's personally who I hope to win, because I love to see the underdog win. She's not the underdog of the whole competition, but I definitely think she's
between
a little...
the two of them.
She's a little below Xochitl, because she's also partnered with Val, who's just...
Well, Xochitl and Val also got a perfect score.
Yeah.
Ariana and Pasha have never gotten a perfect score, so I think that's why they're, like, ahead just, like, a little bit. But I feel like they are pretty even playing fields.
And I'm rooting for Pasha. I hate... Like, I want him to get his first win. This would be his first Mirrorball trophy.
Yes, that would actually be really exciting.
To get the first Len Goodman Mirrorball trophy, whoever gets that,
honestly,
that's just... Ugh.
I'm not really, like, yes, I think, like, Xochitl and Val are kind of my go-to, like, winners, but honestly, this season, there's not one couple that I'm, like,
has stood out consecutively.
And I think, too, that I'm gonna be, like, crazy upset if they don't win. Yeah. Like, I think I'm just so excited for all of the couples. Yeah. And so really... True. This season, I feel like has been so many shocks of like eliminations and like people staying.
This season
and, like,
has
whatever.
Been shocking, so I wouldn't be surprised if something else happened.
Honestly, like I'm here for like whatever happens. Like I'm just here like along for the ride, like to watch along.
And just if you guys don't watch, just real quickly, the other 3 people. So we named those 2, Ariana and Xochitl, but Jason Mraz, the singers in this season. So is Allison Hannigan and Charity Lawson. Like those are the 5 people. So if you like any of those people, definitely tune in. But yeah.
But honestly, let's move on to our next pop culture segment. So, like we said, like Dancing with the Stars was one of the things that brought us together. But one of the things that started this whole podcast, if you didn't even know, was me and Vanessa share the same love for one of our favorite podcasts, Zane and Heath Unfiltered.
Yes.
And no promo. But we're so excited because two of the main hosts, Mariah and Heath, actually just announced their engagement.
When I tell you, we'll get into this aspect later, but Kat was actually doing like a long drive back to school this weekend. And I called her. I was like, I know she's driving, but this can't wait. And I remember telling her, and she was like, you better not be fucking with me. Like, she was so convinced I was lying because, if you guys don't know, everyone has been waiting for them to get engaged for years. Like, this is long overdue. This is very long overdue. They've been together for
I don't
7
even know.
years.
I couldn't even tell you.
A long
I couldn't even tell
time.
you. It's been
They live together. It's just been in the making. Come on.
Yeah.
So when I saw their Instagram post, I was like, Catherine needs to be the first thing I like.
Don't know who Heath and Mariah are. They are like years ago in like 2017, like part of like the Vlog Squad like group with like David Dobrik and all of them, and they were making like YouTube videos every day, and then they kind of obviously, like, as time passed on, they kind of stopped doing like the vlogs and stuff, and they made a podcast, and now I think they're on like their 5th season of the podcast.
They are,
which is crazy for us, of like thinking us like one day maybe we'll have 5 seasons of this podcast. It's which is insane to think about. But they literally started off like us, like literally just sitting in like a room in their house with mics and just like talking to each other, and then now they're like this huge big production. And I love too that they like do it all themselves, because we do this all ourselves. Like,
they set up their set themselves. They have their own, like, they're each other's editors and managers.
They literally set up a tripod with a camera like we do for you guys. So I think that's really fun. And just like, I think another reason of why we love it so much. So we're really excited for their engagement. I
can't wait to see the wedding.
So
everything
exciting.
Coming up to it.
Yeah, literally you called me and I was driving home from what this topic of this podcast is, about going to other schools, which we'll jump into in a second. But Vanessa called me and I like hadn't been on social media all day because I was driving. And she told me the news, and I was like, Vanessa, I swear, I was like, I haven't checked social media. I'm like, if this is like an April Fool's like gotcha joke, I was like, I'm gonna be so upset because that's literally all we've been waiting for years. Like, for years.
Like, this is our engagement, basically. Like, this is so huge for us. It's not even funny.
Yeah, so I'm so happy for them. I'm so excited. I also I think this was just like,
I love how you didn't believe me. Like, for the longest time, you're like, stop lying. I'm not.
I think I was just in such shock. Because literally, like, one of their friends got engaged and married before they did, and he wasn't even in like as long of a relationship as they have. So for me, that was just like a shock of like, you know, like a haha, maybe it was like a joke, like TikTok or something. He was like fake engaging. You know,
they
like,
probably waited for their like Matt and Patricia's
to be
over, kinda.
Which I respectfully like
a Dolce and Gabbana moment.
But I
sorry,
but I think that's like respectful. Like, one of your close friends like wait till the engagement's over.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, like, have you seen those TikToks where like boyfriends will like fake like get on their knee and they'll be like,
if someone ever does that to me, don't.
Nah, I would think it's funny.
Yeah, you would think it's funny. I would break up with them.
Oh, well.
To each their own.
Well, let's move on to our segment of the podcast today.
Yes.
So I feel like this is an interesting topic.
I was just gonna say,
literally, I think we came up with like on the whim but we were just like, oh my god, that's such an interesting topic to talk about, because
that I think all lifestyle influencers or people who like have podcasts about school like don't talk about, because it's not very common.
Yeah, it's not very talked about, but so we're here talking about it.
Hello, welcome. I'm Vanessa.
Welcome to Roommate Rewind. I'm Catty Lou. My god. But yeah, we want to talk about like our experiences and kind of like what to expect, and just like honestly our personal stories of like when we go to visit like our friends and family at other schools. Because obviously, like, we go away at school, we go away to college, and there are some people who stay home, but you know, you realize that your friends or family you've known your entire life have kind of like this whole other life that literally
that you're not a part of.
Like, you're just kind of like a chapter in their book, like you're a side character, like you're at school and you're like, oh my god, I'm such main character energy here, and then you go to like somewhere else and you're like, no, I'm just a side character. Like,
and I think it's important to see where, like, again, your close friends and family go to school, get in on this part of their life or whatever, just to see, like, how their daily life is, kind of when they're telling you a story, you can picture it now, whatever. So I think it's important.
I think especially at this age, too, like, it's everybody's first time really living on their own.
Yeah.
So just kind of seeing, like, okay, now they're not influenced by, like, their parents or, like, their hometown, like, whatever. Like, what's your life truly like? Like, how are you living now?
Yeah,
so I think that's really exciting. So you visited, out of friends and family, you visited 2 schools?
Yes.
And I visited 2?
2 as well, yeah.
2 as well?
I think it's funny because, like, obviously you traveled away. You came to school further than I did. And you've also visited further colleges. Yeah. And I've stayed visiting the close colleges still, yeah.
Very local. I mean, I had visited technically, if we're counting, like, my brother's school, like, 3.
That's true.
And then,
That's
like,
true.
my hometown, like, the school, like, literally in my neighborhood, like, 4. Yeah. But not, like, stayed for, like, the weekend. Just kind of, like, day trips-ish, like, type experiences.
And these are big schools, so you guys will know what schools we're talking about. So if you guys do plan on going to
or
these,
if you go to these schools, definitely holla, write a comment, yay, I don't know. Like,
actually just scream wherever you are and just
be like,
Endicott! So alert everyone that you're thinking of the podcast right now.
Endicott.
Yeah.
And also, too, just a disclaimer, like, no way in any shape or form this podcast are we shitting on any schools.
No.
I think we're just talking about, like, the differences of life comparison and, like, the style, I guess.
Exactly.
And whether if we like it, maybe we don't like it, certain things. So this is all just, like, opinion. It's not, like, meant to be mean or, like, cruel.
And just kind of what to expect when you go to different schools, what to bring, how to interact with their friends, get used to a new
I feel like let's, like, jump right into that. So, like, now you're going to, like, visit somebody. What are you packing? Like, what are you bringing? Like, are you overpacking or are you underpacking?
I overpack to the most severe. And I also, the 2 schools I visited are the University of New Hampshire and the University of UMass, like Amherst. So both are big schools. So when thinking of, like, going to a big school, I'm like, oh my God, there's a million things I'm going to do. Because I just relate size to activities. Okay. So I'm like, I actually need 10,000 outfits. Like, one outfit per person there. Like, I don't know. So I definitely have an overpacker. What are you?
Honestly, I really thought I was an overpacker. And then previously this weekend, I feel like this is so new for me because I just went to go visit Binghamton University in New York. It's like upstate New York area. And I, like, showed up to, like, my friend's apartment, and she was, like, helping me, like, go into, like, their parking lot. So she jumped in my car to, like, give me directions, like, to her apartment. And she was like, you only brought 2 bags? Yeah. And she was like, one of my other friends, like, brought a suitcase. And I was like, whoa.
That would be me.
I was like, whoa. I was like, well, I just felt bad. Like, I've never been there before. So I didn't want to, like, overpack.
Totally.
And then also, I was with girls who were, like, a little bit older than me. So I didn't want to be, like, that younger kid who, like, brought so much stuff.
The loser who brought a suitcase,
like, so much stuff. Like, I think when it's, like, a closer, like, not, like, closer friend, but
it depends
like, if
who
it's
you're
your
visiting.
Best friend, I feel like they don't care. Like, they know you at this point. They should know you're gonna bring a shitload of stuff. So, like, I think I'm an underpacker.
You totally are. Like, I was so impressed.
I'm the girl who's like, I'm re-wearing the jeans. I'm gonna just re-wear jeans. I'm only bringing, like, 1 or 2 pairs of shoes. Like, I'm gonna wear, like, going out shoes, and then maybe, like, comfy shoes around, like, their apartment or, like, house, or just, like, to drive in. Yeah. And then, like, one cute, like, travel outfit that I'll wear there and back. And then maybe, like, pajamas or, like, sweats or some sort to like go to sleep in, and, like, if we're, like, lounging around type of thing. Yeah. Or, like, going out during the day, sorry.
No, you're totally good. That's just crazy, and I'm very impressed by you because I pack like I'm gonna get mauled by 10 dogs, rained on, snowed on, peed on. Like, I have a million different outfits. So I definitely would recommend not underpacking, but just be realistic with yourself. I think that's the biggest piece of advice. Like, I personally, Kat brought a backpack and a duffel bag for the weekend, and, like, it worked out good for you, right? Like, it seemed like the perfect amount. Because I bring a suitcase, and it's just not the way to go. I don't wear half the shit I bring, and then it's all dirty. And
well, I want to kind of talk about this with you, because I feel like you definitely understand this a lot more, too, of packing also, I feel like, depends on, like you said, who you're seeing.
Who you're seeing.
If you're seeing, like, one of your best friends, you know, small things like, you know, maybe you're flying there and, you know, you can't bring your full size of like perfume, like you don't have a travel one because you're at school yourself, so, you know, you brought a full size one, and you don't have like travel stuff, like maybe like body wash and like perfume and like little stuff like that you know your friend will have at their own school, like you maybe wouldn't bring, like you'll be like, okay, you know what, I can just borrow like their shampoo or conditioner. As to where, like, maybe if you're visiting your boyfriend or, like, you're doing a long-distance relationship thing and you're visiting their school for, like, a weekend, you know, like, obviously, like, you're a guy, he's a girl, like, you're gonna, like, or what, you're a girl, he's a guy, you're gonna want to, like, you know, you're not gonna use his boy soap, you know, type of thing. Maybe you are, but, you know, I feel
maybe
like
they don't even use soap, I don't know.
You know what I mean? But, like, maybe it's a similar thing of, like, you know, you're not gonna, they're not gonna have, like,
know your audience. I think when you're going somewhere,
know your audience.
Know your audience. Like, that's what, because I was gonna bring up toiletries when I went to go visit my best friend at UNH. I brought like my entire everything that I'd used to shower with, and I'm like, she has all of the exact same things. Like I could just bring a toothbrush and be set. You know, she has everything else.
You know, she has shampoo.
She's got the moisturizer, the face soap. So definitely
especially if you're still friends, like best friends at that point, like from your hometown.
Yeah.
You obviously both have such a like big influence on each other's lives.
Yeah.
Like, you're like even me and my best friend like from school, from high school, like we still like have this. We're still influenced by like the same things. Like we still like certain brands like the same. So like I can rely that like she's gonna have something that I like or like, even better.
Totally. And it's the same thing with going out tops. She's also a girl that goes to college.
Exactly.
Like she's gonna have tops for you. You truthfully bring your favorite pair of jeans that you know like fits you.
Yeah.
Maybe one comfy outfit, and then like she has going out tops, whatever. You don't need that. Going to visit like a boyfriend or maybe someone who just doesn't wear the type of clothes you do. Like bring a couple. But
like I was gonna say, like this weekend I went to go visit at Binghamton. I went to go visit my brother's girlfriend and I stayed at her apartment. So my big thing that I think I packed the most of, or not even that I packed the most of, but like I made sure I picked the right things. Like I tested out the outfits or something kind of beforehand, was the going out tops, because I know that like she's a little bit shorter and shorter than me, and like I'm a little bit taller, so like, and also we're just different sizes, so like obviously I knew that I couldn't borrow her clothes. Like, there wasn't as much like room of like, oh hey, can I borrow a top type of thing. Like I also wanted to be comfortable in like what I was wearing going out. So like picking tops for me, I feel like I had the more options in that area, because I was like, okay, I know I can't ask her to borrow anything, so like let me make sure like my going out clothes is like what I'm gonna want to wear.
Exactly. Yeah, I truthfully think it all stems from just knowing your audience, what they have, sizes, styles, all of that. But yeah, I'm trying
a cup, like you don't have to worry about like bringing a water bottle. Like they have water bottles there, or some stuff that they use to, like they live there. Like you don't have to worry about that.
Truthfully, when you really think about it, how much, like you really don't have to bring much, like at all. I'm trying to think. Like
I feel like everything we're saying like is kind of self-explanatory and like dumb, but it's truly something that like when you're packing in that moment, you won't think this until like the moment before, but like you overthink it. You're gonna think you need so much more until you get there and you're like, oh, you overthink it, like, and you don't use half the stuff anyway.
So maybe this comes out Friday, maybe you're listening to this while packing for a weekend away, and you'll be like, oh, you're right, like I really don't need this much stuff. Check the weather too. I guess that's a piece of advice. But, okay, moving away from, I think, what we should bring. So now you're there. You're at this college. How do you go about meeting your hometown friends, like, new friends? Like, how do you control either, like, not jealousy, like, but emotions? Getting to know them? What if you don't like them? How do you interact with them?
Yeah. Well, I feel like that's such a good question.
Yeah. It could also depend.
Because, I mean, honestly, I'm very lucky. I feel like I really haven't, like, and I'm being truly honest.
Yeah.
I don't think I've met anybody really that I haven't liked.
Like, or gotten along with,
Fortunately, I really don't think there was ever a moment where I met someone and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like, I can't believe they're friends with these people. Like, honestly, I've personally had really good experiences, but I know there's people out there who have had
totally,
like,
yeah.
You know, it's just nature, you know, like, people do change.
Right.
So, you know, like, or, you know, honestly, like, the environment is so different that you're just going to be friends with different people in certain environments. Like, and it's not to be, like, mean or anything at all, but, like, I have said, like, a couple times, like, previously before to, like, even some of my college friends, and I'm like, if I were home, like, different I think it's truly, like, your setting of where your environment of it's why they say people, like, who live in different places grow up so differently is because, like, you know, you don't have the same, like, similarities or, like, and stuff. So I literally say that sometimes, like, my friends at school, I'm like, in high school, I'm like, we would not have been friends.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just nature of, like,
isn't that crazy?
You tell, like, stories about, like, your childhood and stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, we would not be friends. Like, be friends, just because at that time in our lives, we did not share common interests.
Yeah, exactly.
We just did not share common interests. And I think it's the same thing for college of, like, your college experience is so much different, and you have to remember to, like, their college experience of, like, they're friends with them because they're in that environment for, like, different reasons. Not that it's bad or it's good, you know, it's just different.
Exactly.
It's just different. So, honestly, I really have not had, like, a bad encounter, but I think one thing is definitely you have to be open. You
have to go in with open arms type thing.
You have to go in, like, I don't want to say just, like, super nice, like, super, like, I don't know what the word is.
Be open-minded.
But just definitely be open-minded.
Yeah, totally. Because never judge a book by cover, especially meeting someone for the first time. And obviously, someone you're really good friends with, most of the time, you know the type of person that they gravitate towards and go towards. So you're like, okay, you know what? They're probably, like, similar to them or have similar interests. Like, they're friends with them for a reason. So try and stay open-minded. Be like, well, maybe they're really similar to me. Like, if she's friends with both of us, we must have some things in common. Yeah. Try and find similarities, you know, just, and it's okay to ask the basic questions. Like, me and Kat probably started out with, like, a very basic friendship. Like,
which is
what do you like to do?
About,
what are your hobbies? And then we were like, oh, wait, shit, we have all the same hobbies. Like, I think you could form lifelong friendships. Like, we're friends with, like, colleges that we've gone and visited. Like, I love the girls that I've met, that I've hung out with and stuff, you know? Like, you meet so many more people. It truly is so nice. And in college, I think everyone just has the same mindset of you just want friends.
Yeah. You want people who are going through the same things as you and sharing, like, similar experiences, and you want that connection.
Exactly.
You want that connection.
Whether you're at your own college or visiting someone else, everyone just has the same goal in mind to, like, make good friends and have a good time. So it's like, go in with that mindset, and it'll, most of the time, if they're not, like, psychotic, like, you know, be good.
But I think one thing while you were talking that, like, got me thinking, too, was one of the big things, and I feel like this is something that I feel like I have encountered, is and it's, like, a little bit of advice, but, like, don't be scared if, like, right away you meet someone's roommate or someone's friend, and they're a little standoffish.
Yeah. Like, you're in their space.
Exactly. You have to remember that, like you said, you're in their space and you're in their world. And, you know, I think as needed, like, some people are going to have their guard up a little bit more.
Well, and it's their first time seeing how their roommate interacts with, like, their own personal world. Like, if one of our friends came up, like, not that the other person would be upset, obviously, but it's like, let me see how they interact. Like, how are they together? It's just all a learning curve in getting to know new people. And now, like, one of my best friends back home is now also one of her best friends. Like, it just...
Which is, I was just going to talk about that, because I feel like when vice versa, like, we've had one of your friends come and stay with us, I think at first she was very standoffish to me.
She is.
And I think that was something...
Well, because it's like, who are you? Like...
You know what I...
Now you're close with my best friend. Like, that's weird.
It is, like, even if you're on the receiving end of it, if someone else is coming to visit you, like...
You're both probably feeling the exact same way.
I think both of us were probably a little bit standoffish.
Totally.
Because now you're one of my You're one of my new close friends that I just spent, like, 2 months with, a whole semester with, getting to know. And then you're, like, meeting this whole other person from their past, and you're like, who are you? You're like, who are you? Maybe I've never heard of you. Maybe I have. Or maybe I've heard, like, certain stories or whatever that have already put you in like a certain mindset, but then I meet you in person and you're like the nicest person ever. Like
no,
we get along great. We have so many so many common traits.
Right? Yeah, these feelings are all very normal too. Like it's I think perfectly normal to kind of be like nervous, like how are they going to act? Are we going to get along? Are the three of us going to have fun? Like or however many of us going to have fun? Like those are all normal thoughts to have, and most of the time it will like end up working out if you go in with an open mindset and just genuinely try and get to know the person, because most of the time, especially if they're friends with one of your best friends, you're gonna have things in common.
Have you ever met someone from like visiting someone that you're like, okay, not maybe my person, but
truthfully no, because the two schools when I went to UNH, I met a lot of girls, and they all like all of her, I would say, main friend group were like, again, very similar to her. So I was like, I feel like I'm talking to a bunch of like so-and-sos. It's great. You have a lot of things in common. You just laugh. So I truly have had no bad experiences. Like, I really don't want to hang out with them.
Yeah. So I think the next like thing I want to talk about too is kind of a big one that I feel like a lot of you probably experience, but for us it's something really new that I wanted to like talk to you about. Like, so our school does not have Greek life. We are not a big we do not have Greek life. Like, it's not a thing here. So definitely going to visit big schools like this that do have Greek life and that are kind of the social, like kind of how you mingle and how you meet people. I think every school we've
both gone to visit has had Greek life. Yeah.
But what's kind of your like experience with that? Like, now that you've seen it, what is kind of your thoughts on it? Like, do you think if Endicott had Greek life here, you would join?
I would not
really?
Join. No, I would not join personally. And this is like nothing shit. Like, so many of my best friends are in Greek life. Like, there's nothing against them. It's truly just like a me thing. I don't want to be. Can I say like someone's bitch? Like, I don't want to be.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of how I felt really at first. Is because I think I'm the opposite. I think if we did have Greek life here, I would join. Just because I think that's such like the perception is that like, oh, you're gonna join and you know girls are gonna shit on you and like you're gonna have to go through all of this stuff. But I think every sorority and every chapter and everything, like all of that stuff that I still really don't understand is all so different depending on where you go.
Yeah, no, it totally is. And all my friends, again, have great experiences. And when you think of the stereotypical frat and sorority, you think of like the worst things that can come to your mind.
Like, you think of, I think especially like at a younger age and like people who obviously don't have Greek life or are not really like involved in that aspect, you think of like the movies, you know, of movie horror stories of Mean Girls.
A stereotypical party like that, and have both been to these parties now or places, whatever. It's, in my opinion, the same shit.
Well, I always said that like going out wise that like going out in college is the same everywhere, just in different locations.
It is. It is.
I think you don't realize that, but going out in college really is the same interaction. So I feel like too that this is really important for like if there's people who are deciding on schools or are nervous about doing Greek life, not doing Greek life, or like, you know, kind of just their environment, like what their social life is going to be in college. If you're like worried about like the going out thing, I think it really is more like depends on your friends. On who your friends are.
Yeah.
Make sure you find those people who are going to be like, you know, like, I want to go out every weekend. Or those people who are like, oh yeah, let's go out some weekends, but let's stay in some weekends. You know, who have that balance. Like, find someone who fits kind of your rhythm.
Totally.
Because at the end of the day, you do not have to worry about like what place you're physically going to. Like, yeah, it may make a difference in, you know, if you're going to college bars or whatever, like, yeah, there's going to be popular bars and popular spots. But at the end of the day, it's the same interaction with other human beings, but it's really the people you're with.
Exactly. I was gonna say.
And it sounds so corny, but like it's true.
Because we've been to small little dorm parties / hangouts and like
we've been to big frat parties.
It's just a dark room. It's sweaty and there's music. Like, it is the same shit.
And I think it's who you're with.
It is all about
who
you're with.
Exactly. That makes the experience.
So yeah, back to like if you were trying to decide like, oh, do I want to go to a school with like Greek life or not? Truthfully, if you think you would join and truthfully find, like, solid friendships and want to make good friendships that way, totally, there's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, we have made, like, such a good friend group with, like, no Greek life. None of us, we're all NARPs, like, we don't play sports. So it's, like, anymore.
Non-athletic regular person.
Yes. So we've still made it work with finding good, solid friendships. We didn't need, like, a group to put it together for us type thing. But again, sometimes that is where also the best friendships come from, is Greek life. So, again, I wouldn't let it be your deciding factor. I think that's what we're trying to say, is it's not that deep. Truly, in the end of things, every party feels the same. Whatever.
Which I think is so interesting now, because probably, like, a year ago, my mindset on, like, sorority and frats was probably so different.
What do you think now?
Honestly, I really am just, like, it depends on where you are and who you're with, who you're with. Like, if you think you need that for, like, more social engagement type thing, then, like, you know, why not? Or, like, if you're like, you know what, it really doesn't matter to me, like, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I think it depends on every single person and, like, the school is so different. Each experience is so different after visiting multiple schools that it's, like, you can't really, like, I feel like in high school, like, I probably was just, like, and I obviously don't really, like, recall what I said in high school all those years ago, but, like, I probably was so, like, skewed in one certain direction of, you know, like, it's so stupid, like, you have to pay all this money to like have friends, and, you know, like, the stereotypical things of people who are, like, maybe anti-sorority, but I really do think it's, like, such situational.
It totally is. It's just, it's never been me, and I still feel that way. Like, I personally wouldn't do it, but all my friends who have done it, like, have had great experiences come out of it. I think I just like to do things kind of on my own time / like, things. And that's not even truly trying to sound selfish, but it's just, like, all the, I don't know how to make it sound. I don't think so. Bad. Like, all the commitments and, like,
you just like to work at your own pace.
Yeah,
like,
I do. And I don't know.
It's a big time thing too.
It is.
It's time consuming.
It is. That's why I didn't want to play a sport in college. Like, I truly wanted to focus mainly, I think, on academics. Which, and obviously many people are very talented and, like, can do both. But, like, I just, like, put all my focus in that, I guess.
There's people who do all three.
Which
credits to them.
You're fantastic.
You're a star.
Yeah,
you're a star even without it.
Have a sticker.
You're a star even if you don't. You're a star.
I'm a star.
Okay. But honestly, I feel like it sounds so dumb that, like, everything we're saying is so self-explanatory.
Oh yeah.
But I think it's just more
talking.
I think it's more of just, like, like, advice of just, like, you know, or just kind of a reminder if you're in this position, or even if you're not, of just remember, like, this is literally our opinions and literally, like, kind of self-explanatory, but, like, just do you.
We're not doctors in this.
Hell no.
You know,
Hell
like,
no.
we're just giving our opinions.
We're just going off your experiences, our experiences, but getting into that experiences, what do you think, what is one of your favorite memories from visiting another school? Or, like, what is one big realization that you've had from visiting another school?
Realizations is that I've been to 2 big schools, and I don't like big schools.
Well, really?
No. I love the size of our campus. Tall buildings scare me. Big campuses scare me. Like, I'm such a homebody, so a tiny place feels homey, I guess, and less concrete and cell-like. Like, I hate to say it's like a prison, but, like, that's how I feel about big schools. It feels like so individual cells. Whereas this, I'm like, I'm in a house.
Like, stylized. It's very simple.
Yeah. It's very stale, I would say. I think stale is the right word.
Stale.
And again, everything, like, there's some people who just love massive schools and hate tiny schools, but me, I'm just the opposite. So that's definitely my biggest realization is I knew, like, coming in, when I was applying to schools and stuff, I really only applied to small ones, and I was like, I'm glad I did, because, I don't know, I've just never really had a thing for the big massive ones, and I always wanted, like, a one-on-one experience with teachers, too, so that was a big part of it, but honestly, I'm trying to think of something I've, like, enjoyed.
What's one, like good experience? It can be, like, the small things too.
I truthfully just think I like seeing how my friends live.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's a great answer.
I think that's the only good thing.
No, of literally too. Like, you compare.
Yeah.
Of like, why did you kind of think to yourself? You're like, why did someone I've known my whole life choose to go down this route in their life? Like, why have they gone down that path?
It makes sense for them, but it doesn't make sense for me, and that's totally fine. But I've realized that, like, both schools I've gone to, I'm like, perfect. This wasn't for me. I'm glad I didn't like pick this place, but I'm so glad they did because it fits them so perfectly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I've realized.
I think one of my biggest realizations was, especially after this weekend and especially after visiting one of my other friends at another school in the past, has just been, for me, a personal thing, is I'm very glad I went to a school, still to this day, where I didn't know anybody.
I like that.
Because I went to 2 very big schools where a lot of people from my hometown and from my area, from Long Island, go to. And I think for me, I think it was a realization that I'm still so glad with the choice I made.
I love that.
Of going somewhere where I didn't know people.
I love
because, you know, this past weekend, going to visit, like, a school where a lot of people from my high school go to, it was so nice, like, seeing everybody and catching up with people I haven't seen in the longest time, even if I'm, like, not that close with them. Like, I saw some, like, people I went to high school who were upperclassmen, who were, like, seniors now, or I saw people who now were, like, freshmen in college, who, like, were always, like, a year younger than me, and that was so awesome, like, reconnecting with people. But, you know, I feel like the whole part of, like, college is just, you know, stepping into that next chapter of your life, and for me personally, I just needed to grow as a person. And like I said, like, I am fascinated with people and the way they live, of like, I love hearing, like, you guys and your stories of, like, how you guys, like, most of our friends here, I feel like, are from Mass, or, like, surrounding states. So it's just so interesting to hear, like, the way you guys grew up, because sometimes it is so different from mine.
Still,
like,
to this day, we find stories that are like, wow.
We had this conversation at dinner the other day of, like, stores and, like, how late things are open. And, like, at home, things are open so much later, just, like, because of where I live. But here, like, I realized that, like, things close literally at, like, 8 o'clock. And, like, that's it. Like, they're done for the night. Like, you couldn't get, like, that midnight slice of pizza if you wanted.
Unfortunately not.
But I think, like, that was my big thing. Favorite memory or, like, experience?
Yeah. What's something that you're like, I'm so glad that happened, or I love
Honestly, like, I have a lot. I just love, good. Like, I think I have a couple. Like, I think my first favorite, like, memory was when I went to South Carolina to visit one of my best friends from high school. I think was, honestly, we, like, we went out one night, and, you know, it was just fun, like, you know, going out with, like, her friends and her experience, and, like you said, really just seeing how they live. Really just seeing how they live. But I think it wasn't even that. I think it was, like, the next morning for me that was, like, the best.
Like, the debrief?
Of, like, was the morning debrief and just, like, getting ready to go out again.
That's nice.
But just, like, doing something that felt so familiar in a different place. I think that was one of my favorite things, was, like, getting ready in her dorm to, like, go out like we were home, but, like, we weren't home. We were, like, at her school. I think that was,
I like that,
like, one of my first favorite experiences from, like, going to visit someone, because I'm like, you know, at the end of the day, you both go down such, like, you and your friends that, like, if you're visiting someone, go down such different roads and lives and paths and whatever, but some things at the end of the day never change. And, you know, that's why you're going to visit this person, because you truly have such a connection with them, which I think is so special. But even from, like, this past weekend of going to visit just now, I think it's nice to see, too, just, like, other people from your past, like, getting along. And, like, I think one of my big things, too, was, especially because I was one of, like, the younger people of the group, was just, like, even after all this time, like, still feeling included and, like, still just feeling like, you know, even though it sounds so deep and, like, so weird, but, like, even though you're not maybe, like, a main character in this person's lives anymore, like, they wanted you there, like, they appreciated you, like, you were still able to, like, have a good time, like, it's, like, like you said, like some things still like never change.
Yeah.
So like for me,
I love
that was one of the best things.
I love that.
But
I'm trying to think. That was lovely. Maybe to wrap it up,
thanks.
should we each give like one piece of advice as to like
Sure.
whether it's going to visit another person's college or like how you pick this college, like
Sure.
anything like that? Do you have
Sure.
anything in
Do
mind?
you
like
have
your
one?
main thing? I do, because I thought of this
Yeah,
question.
you
so
go
it's like,
first. Maybe I'll think of something.
okay,
while you're going.
okay. So my piece of advice, I guess, that I would give to anyone is, and you like briefly touched upon it earlier, so that's what made me think of this, is pick your college for you. Like, I was so close to following hometown friends when in reality, like, it was one of the schools I went and visited this year, and I was like, thank God. Like, it worked out perfectly for them, but it would not have worked out perfectly for me. So I think knowing truthfully, like, what you're like, what you need and want for yourself is so much more important than, like, being scared to, like, lose a friendship so you want to follow them or something. Because I was very close to doing that. I was very close to going somewhere that I knew in my heart I didn't fully want to go to. So I went my own path again. I went somewhere where I didn't know anyone except Steph, who we had in the episode a couple times ago. But again, like, we weren't, like, we didn't hang out of school. Like, we texted occasionally, you know, but it wasn't, like, someone that I saw so often that I was like, I can't live without, like,
Yeah.
So
It's kind of like when they say, like, don't follow your boyfriend to college.
which
like,
don't, yeah.
Which, like, some people do that and, like, it works out great, but I feel like the, talking about, like, the stereotypical, like, don't follow
You would never know
like,
if it wasn't going to work or if it was going to work or not because you had no chance to be apart. Like, I think being apart for a little, like, is going to help you guys realize so much.
Like, sometimes people follow, like, their older siblings to college, which I think is fine, too, but I think when making that decision, just be cautious.
Yeah.
Everything like, am I doing this for me or am I doing this because there's that security blanket?
Exactly. If you truly love the same school, then there's nothing wrong with that. But I knew
and then having your
it
sibling there or like a friend there is a plus.
Exactly.
You know, type of thing.
Exactly. But for me, I was like, I need to create my own path and I can't follow anyone just because I'm scared. So definitely just listen to yourself and where you truly think you'll be the best, and it'll end up working out because it did. I think the end.
That was really good.
Thank you.
I think one of my things, and I kind of got it from something like you were saying, was I think this goes towards more like freshmen in college of don't like I think with social media especially, and I feel like everything I'm saying to this episode is so like self-explanatory and obvious, but like sometimes you just need to say it out loud is don't let social media and like your other friends like steps of where they am and like they are in your life. Sorry, I like can't talk today. Like determine your own success, I guess, because so many times on social media I've seen like, you know, people are already getting this internship or, you know, they're maybe going out more than you, and like you feel like, you know, you're not having the college experience or, you know, maybe
they might have a better, it looks like they have like a closer friendship circle than you. Like
they have closer friends or whatever than you think you have. Like, don't let people's own experiences like kind of set you back. Because there are so many times like on social media where literally me and Vanessa have had like such a long chat about this. I think like the other day of I was telling her how like one of our friends on social media was like really kind of getting into my head, just talking about their own experiences. And it's not that I have like resentment or anything towards like their experiences or whatever, but you know, it just makes you think of, you're like, oh my God, should I be thinking like this? And you know, Vanessa literally had to snap me out of it, and she was like, no, like don't think like that. Like they're going through something themselves, like
so different from you.
Their journey and their chapter is so different than yours.
So don't compare them.
Don't compare them. I think that's just kind of my advice, because
I love that.
I feel like especially to like people freshman year, like maybe sometimes you second guess, like if you're not happy maybe at your school and you like second guess, you're like looking at other people and you're like, oh, but they're so happy here, like why don't I go here, like type of thing.
Like you don't know, like
like you truly don't know like behind the screen, I guess, of like so cliche, I swear
it is,
but you really don't know, like their experience is so different from your own.
It totally is. And I think that's something that we mentioned, if you're watching this with your roommate or pass it on to them, whatever, is we have to hold each other accountable. Like there's so many times where like, of course you'll be like, oh my gosh, I totally agree with you, blah blah blah, I'm sorry about that, blah blah blah, but then there's also times again where you're like, okay, let's look at it this way, and like
Yeah.
let me put it into your mind this way, because obviously your
Yeah.
main job is to be there for them, but at the same time also being there for them is like maybe helping them come to realizations that they couldn't on their own or whatever.
Yeah.
So again, always just kindly being like, this is how it is, and like this is how I see it from an outside perspective, I guess, is so important, because
Yeah. And honestly, I think that wraps up this episode.
I think so too.
I feel like
that was
this
kind of deep.
this episode
Was
was
it?
a deep episode.
Apologies.
We got deep. I honestly, we weren't really expecting to go this route either.
We were just
but-
like, what to bring?
And I feel like sometimes like these episodes don't really do that well, because like I said, this whole entire episode, that they're not really like they're self-explanatory
Yeah.
type of thing. But some, like I said multiple times throughout this episode, sometimes you just need to say it out loud
Yeah.
and have these conversations that sometimes we're afraid to have.
We hope we help
So-
some people come to realizations.
Even if we help one person,
Yeah.
I feel like you don't understand, like that's our job here. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're here for. So guys, thank you so much for watching another episode. We have a couple more fun episodes planned for the end of this semester.
Can you believe?
And-
If you guys are also in college, good luck in finals. I know they're
Good luck
coming
in
up.
finals, but we have a couple, I think, Christmas episodes planned.
Yes.
We have a couple guests maybe coming on.
Yes.
So stay tuned for those episodes. You know where to watch us. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts. We're also on Instagram and TikTok at Roommate Rewind. We've been posting a lot on TikTok recently,
We've been
so
killing
go make
it.
sure
Yeah.
to like and comment on our TikToks or recreate them with your roommates and your friends at school. Thank you so much for watching. We love you all, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.